What was it actually like to wake up in California in 1849? Not the legend, not the Hollywood version. The real mud, the real hunger, the real danger, and the impossible dream that moved 100,000 people across a continent. Would you have survived it? Would you have found gold or died broke in a camp nobody remembers? Every answer is in this video. January 24th, 1848. A carpenter named James Marshall spots something glinting in the water at Sutter's mill in the Sierra Nevada foothills. He picks it up. It is gold. Within weeks, the secret is out. Within months, the word reaches every corner of the United States. South America, Europe, China, and Australia. One word travels faster than any ship: gold. The people who drop everything and come are called the 49ers. They are not mostly adventurers. They are farmers, clerks, and laborers. Ordinary people chasing an extraordinary rumor. Getting to California in 1849 is itself life-threatening. 3 routes exist. None are safe. All are brutal in completely different ways. The sea route around Cape Horn takes 5 to 8 months. Storms and disease kill people before they ever see California. The overland route is 2,000 miles of prairie, desert, and mountain. The Panama route cuts through Central American jungles, shorter, but carrying malaria, yellow fever, and cholera. Every path to California in 1849 is a gamble with your life. Those who survive arrive at San Francisco Bay. What they find is nothing like what they imagined. San Francisco in 1849 is not a city. It is tents, wooden shacks, and mud streets that flood with every rain. The population explodes from 800 people to 25,000 in a single year. There are almost no women, almost no permanent buildings, almost no law. It is the most lawless boomtown on the continent. Prices are incomprehensible. A single egg costs the equivalent of $25 today. A night at a boarding house costs more than a week's wages back home. Merchants are getting rich. Boarding house owners are getting rich. The people actually mining for gold are mostly not. This is the first truth of the gold rush. Nobody tells you up front. Now the mining camps. The camps have names that tell you everything. Rough and Ready, Hangtown, Murderer's Bar, Humbug Flat. These are not places named by people expecting comfort. A typical miner wakes before dawn in a tent or a crude shelter. Temperature in the Sierra Nevada foothills drops near freezing at night, even in summer. He has slept in his clothes. Breakfast is salt pork, hardtack biscuits, and coffee over an open fire. Fresh food is nearly impossible to find. Scurvy from vitamin deficiency is common. Deadly common. He walks to the river. Placer mining in 1849 is simple in concept and brutal in execution. Stand in ice-cold mountain water for 10 hours a day, shoveling gravel into a pan, hoping gold settles to the bottom. The river water temperature is just above freezing, even in summer. Miners develop rheumatism, joint problems, and respiratory illness within months. The body breaks down faster than the gold comes in. On a good day, a miner finds enough gold dust to fill a small vial. On most days, almost nothing. The mathematics of the gold rush are quietly devastating. In 1848, the first year gold was abundant near the surface. A lucky man found an ounce a day. By 1849, 50,000 new miners have arrived and the easy gold is nearly gone. The men who got rich in 1848 are already rich. The men arriving in 1849 compete for what remains in freezing water in remote mountains. With basic tools and deteriorating bodies, violence in the camps is constant and largely unpunished. There are no courts, no sheriff's. Miners create rough justice systems that frequently end in public floggings or hangings. The town of Hangtown gets its name from 3 men hanged by a vigilante crowd. In a single afternoon in 1849, nobody is arrested. Nobody ever is. Now, who is actually in these camps? The gold rush is one of the most diverse human gatherings in American history, and one of the most violently unequal. Miners arrive from Chile, Mexico, China, France, Germany, and Australia, alongside Americans from every state. For a brief moment, California is genuinely international. Then the violence organizes itself along racial lines. The foreign miners' tax charges, non-American miners $20 a month, a sum most cannot pay. Chinese and Latin American miners are driven from their claims by force. Native Californians face something far worse. The gold rush triggers systematic violence against Native people that historians now classify as genocide. An estimated 100,000 Native Californians are alive in 1848. By 1870, fewer than 30,000 remain. The gold rush kills them through direct violence, starvation, and forced displacement from land. Their ancestors had lived on for thousands of years. Now what the camps actually look like. The smell alone is something no photograph captures. Hundreds of men without sanitation, butchering animals, burning wood constantly, rarely bathing. The smell reaches a mile downwind. Laundry is so expensive that miners wear clothes until they fall apart. A shirt laundered in San Francisco costs more than a new shirt shipped from the East Coast. Entertainment is intensely valued. Card games run day and night. A fiddle player earns more in an evening than a miner earns in a week. Alcohol is everywhere and cheap. Everything else is expensive and rare. Mail from home is the most precious thing in the camps. Miners wait months for letters from their families. When mail arrives, grown men weep in the street, reading news from wives and children they may never see again. Many of them do not go home. The death rate in the California camps is staggering. Cholera, typhoid, mining accidents, violence, and exposure kill thousands. Most graves are unmarked. Here is the number that reframes everything. Of the 300,000 people who come to California between 1848 and 1855, the majority leave poorer than when they arrived. The people who build lasting fortunes are not the miners, they are the suppliers. Levi Strauss arrives selling canvas pants to miners. He becomes one of the wealthiest men in America. Philip Armour makes his first fortune selling meat to miners before building a meatpacking empire. John Studebaker builds before building wagons and eventually automobiles. The lesson the gold rush teaches every businessman, since the people who sell the shovels always do better than the people swinging them. But the gold rush does something to California that no economic calculation captures. It transforms a remote territory into the most dynamic region in North America. In under a decade, California becomes a state in 1850, 2 years after gold is discovered. It skips the territorial phase entirely. Population pressure from the gold rush forces political transformation at extraordinary speed. San Francisco goes from a small village to a major international port city in 3 years. Roads, schools, newspapers, banks, and eventually a transcontinental railroad followed the path gold carved through the wilderness. The agriculture that feeds California today, the vineyards, orchards, and farms of the Central Valley, begins as food supply operations for gold rush miners. The gold rush plants seeds that grow for 150 years. Was it worth it? For California as a place? Yes, undeniably. For the average person who came? Almost certainly not. The typical 49er spends his life savings getting there, survives 2 years of brutal conditions, finds minimal gold, and either dies in the camps or returns home broke and broken. And yet the letters they send home tell a different story than pure failure. Men write about freedom they never felt before. A world without social hierarchy, without landlords, without fixed destiny. That feeling that a man could arrive with nothing and become something is the most powerful thing the gold rush produces. More powerful than any gold. Pulled from those rivers, it becomes the defining myth of the American West. The idea that the frontier rewards courage. That opportunity waits for whoever is willing to go find it. That myth shapes American culture for generations. The gold in the Sierra Nevada rivers is mostly gone by 1855. The rivers run clear again. The camps empty. The tents rot. The wooden shacks collapse back into soil. But California remains, transformed beyond recognition, the most populous state in what becomes the most powerful nation on earth. All of it traced back to a glint of gold in a carpenter's hand in January 1848. The men who came for gold mostly did not find it, but they found California. And California, messy, violent, diverse, and impossibly ambitious, turned out to be worth more than all the gold they were looking for. This is what 1849 actually looked like. Not romantic, not clean. 100,000 human beings making desperate decisions in a landscape that had no mercy and no memory. And producing, in the chaos, something that lasted longer than any gold nugget ever could. A place, a story, a version of the future the world had never quite seen before. Which part of this hits hardest? The violence, the economics, the human desperation, or the fact that the myth outlasted the reality by 150 years and counting? Drop it in the comments. Because this conversation about gold, ambition, and what people sacrifice for the chance at something better is never really finished. History is not clean. It is not simple. And the California gold rush is one of the clearest proofs that the most powerful forces in human life are never gold itself, but the stories we tell about it. The dream that brought 100,000 people to California in 1849 is the same dream still moving people across borders and oceans today. The landscape changes. The hunger does not. If this changed how you see the gold rush, California, and the price of chasing a dream, like, subscribe and stay close. On this channel, history gets more real every single week.